They noticed that Loretta's hand was in a pool of blood.
I couldn't even imagine what she's thinking about as she's laying there dying. My mom taking her last dying breath, leaving the clues.
I said, that doesn't happen except in the movies. She says, it was right there, plain view.
Loretta writing the name of the killer in blood.
It was just my mom and I. She made a ton of my own clothes. She made me dolls. She made some good memories with me. For me, she was the best mom.
Sheriff kept calling my mother, and finally my dad comes home and he's very upset and in shock. First thing that my mother said is, "Where is Heidi?" A lot of the town was just scared that here's this guy that killed my sister, and he had grabbed a little girl that night as well. Everybody's wondering, where's this guy? What happened to him?
She had on a blue dress. It had a super high collar, so that you couldn't see where her neck had been slit. But I remember looking at her in the coffin, and she looked just like Sleeping Beauty to me.
It was really hard to see Loretta, and there's her daughter, Heidi, just crying, realizing that her mother is gone now.
Somebody could not make a sound through any of that, not screaming out for help. She went through it because she didn't want anything to happen to me. How could I just let that go? My mom was my hero that night. I remember getting upset a lot, crying a lot. Anytime I tried to talk to my grandma about my mom, it would just make her cry. She said, "Why don't you just let it go?" And I says, "Because I can't let it go." I know she would have gone to great lengths to do whatever she needed to do for me, and she proved that the night she was murdered. I owed it to her to do something about this. If I could keep the conversation alive about my mom, then maybe I could help get her case solved.
My mom just wanted Loretta to rest in peace. I really honestly had mixed feelings, but the other part of me was like, where's this guy that killed Loretta?
Oh, I spilled my guts to him. I just needed help. What I remember vividly is I heard a thud. I went to the bedroom door and I looked through the keyhole and I saw something laying on the floor. And at first I just thought it was a pile of laundry. My next vivid memory is I am out on the front porch and my next door neighbor is out there digging for worms. Says, Heidi, come here, I have to show you something. And I says, I can't. I think my mommy's dead.
Just for the child to see something like that with their own mother laying there, just is unimaginable.
I told him everything that I could possibly tell about my mom's case. I told him every rumor, every story.
Quickly found out that I had no evidence and no case file at all, which is uncommon because homicides you keep for life. They found Loretta laying on her side with her hand in a pool of blood. Them and the doctor witnessed 17 stab wounds in her back and 2 in her chest.
Someone being stabbed multiple times would definitely show defensive wounds in the typical case. I believe that Loretta stayed quiet to protect her own child because she was afraid that her daughter would run out and get hurt as well.
David said to me, too bad we don't have any photos of the crime scene.
Why are they taking a picture of her right there where her mom died like that? The blood stain was still there, but this picture is the only crime scene photo we have.
The judge kicked it out of the preliminary hearing stage.
Tom Egley just happened to be a guy at the wrong place at the wrong time walking around.
Heidi said it was Tom that killed my mom. It sounds like Tom. I had a bad dream. I heard footsteps, and he said, I'm coming to kill you. When I'm through with you, maybe your daughter too. I heard a thud, a noise. Mommy fell. She was dead. I seen him through the hole in my door, and that being my keyhole. Why did that Tom kill Mommy? He always slapped her, hitting her. He was mean to Mommy. It was such a horrendous time in my life, and to know that I was there and I witnessed a whole lot more than I actually remember. That night, my mom came to my bedroom and she told me, don't come out.
Brown hair, lighter eyes, like 5'10", 5'11", something like that. He wasn't real tall, but he wasn't short. When we got to the police station, they had me kind of peek around the corner and look at him, and they asked, is that the guy? I felt like I was going to throw up, and I said yes.
I knew that Loretta had dated Tom Egley one time on a blind date. She didn't like him, and she didn't want anything to do with this guy. Heidi was always right to the same story every time. You know, Tom killed my mom.
Give me the shovel, I'll help dig. Because if that's what it's gonna take, I will do it. I will do whatever I had to do.
Investigators in Carbon County say they are closer than ever to figuring out who raped and killed a young mother nearly 5 decades ago.
I would hope that nobody ever has to exhume their own mother.
She says, hey, I got some info for you that you might just find interesting. Did you ever know that Loretta wrote the killer's name in blood? And I says, how would you know this anyway? I mean, she says, I was living with Heidi's grandmother at the time, going to school. She says, I saw it right there with my own eyes. We got one crime scene picture back. We looked, and with a little bit of color manipulation on this photo, it is there, plain as day. She writes this T and this O.
I never heard that. I was beyond excited. I mean, my mom taking her last dying breath, writing out T and O, leaving the clues.
There are new things just come to light, and things that didn't make sense maybe a year ago make sense now.
Hendricks said it's still too soon to publicly name the individual that investigators are looking at for this crime. He did tell me that person is still alive and that detectives are actively working to arrest and prosecute him.
Tom came to her house and says, "Hey, can you watch my dogs? The cops are going to come for me really soon."
Were you drunk?
I was drunk, yeah.
And the door closed, and then what?
I was thrown down for sex.
Okay. And that made you feel how?
Like, I lost it. I cut her throat and I left.
He did it. He really did it. After all these years, he finally confessed.
Words can't describe what it was like. It says, "We got your guy. Your mom can rest now."
A 76-year-old man is on his way to prison for a murder he committed in Carbon County back in 1970.
I can't believe this. I can't believe this day is finally here. In my impact statement, I told Egley how he took my mom away from me. She missed me dating. She missed me getting my driver's license. She missed me getting married. She missed out on everything in my life.
It's the end of a long road for Heidi Jones Acey. This afternoon, Egley was sentenced to 10 years to life behind bars for that crime.
He will be 96 years old when he goes up before the parole board, and I will make sure he doesn't get out. People say it's closure, but for me, it wasn't closure. It was justice. I don't even know how to put into words what David Brewer means to me.
Her persistence. I honestly think there were times that she lifted me up without her pushing me along and giving me that support. I don't think it would have been solved.
Some heroes wear capes, mine wears Kevlar. Yeah, he's my hero. My mom mattered. My mom's life mattered. She mattered to me the most. For me, it's all been about never give up. Never give up. As long as there's hope, there's a chance. I learned to believe in the impossible.
This has been such a big part of Jones Acey's life. She says she's not sure what she's going to do now. She says simply, she's going to keep her mother's memory alive.